Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to be learning about two-step equations. And in these equations, we'll have the operations addition, subtraction, and division. So here I have x plus 3 divided by 2 is equal to 8. And remember that our goal is to isolate our x variable. And in order to do so, we could see that this entire term, x plus 3, is being divided by 2. So we can't really subtract 3 because that's being affected by 2. It's being divided by 2. And we don't know what the value of x is, so we can't do x divided by 2 either. So the easiest thing that we could do is if this whole term is being divided, so if this entire term is being divided by 2, we could multiply by 2 so that we don't have to work with the 2. So if we multiply by 2, that cancels this out because this term is being divided by 2, and multiplication is the inverse operation to division. And remember, whatever we do on the left side, we have to do on the right side to keep our equation balanced. So I'm going to multiply this right side by 2 as well. On the left side, I am now left with x plus 3, because that canceled out, is equal to 8 times 2 is 16. So x plus 3 is equal to 16. And now all we have to do is get x by itself. So in order to do so, we're going to subtract by 3 on both sides. And so the positive and the negative 3 cancel out and equal 0. So x is equal to 16 minus 3, which is 13. And that's it. And if we go back to check our work, all we would have to do is substitute. So wherever we see an x, we're going to put 13. So 13 plus 3 divided by 2. 13 plus 3 is 16. Divided by 2 is equal to 8. And that's what we have here. So if this statement is true, then we know that x is equal to 13. So here we have x minus 5 divided by negative 3 is equal to 7. Same thing here. This entire term is being divided by negative 3. So in order to get rid of that, we know that multiplication is the inverse operation of division. So we can multiply by negative 3 to cancel this out. And whatever we do on the left side, we have to do on the right side to keep it balanced. So here on the left side, I'm left with x minus 5 is equal to, and now we have 7 times negative 3, which is negative 21. So x minus 5 is equal to negative 21. And so in order to isolate our x, we just have to get rid of this minus 5. And we could do the opposite, which is plus 5. And so these two cancel out, they equal 0. Now I'm left with x equals negative 5 plus 5, negative 21 plus 5. Because the signs are different, we're going to subtract and keep the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value. So 21 minus 5 is 16. And we know that the number with the greatest absolute value in this case is negative 21, which is negative. And so our answer is x equals negative 16. And now if we wanted to go back and see if this were correct, we would substitute it for x. So negative 16 minus 5 divided by 3. Negative 16 minus 5 is negative 21. Divided by 3, negative 3. So negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. So that's how we know that this is true, because we got the same thing as our equation. So x is equal to negative 16. Here I have negative 12 plus x divided by 5 is equal to negative 3. So same thing, this entire term is being divided by 5. So we're going to have to cancel that out, and in order to do so, we're going to have to multiply by 5 on both sides. So if we multiplied by 5, these two would cancel out, and whatever we do on the left side, we have to do on the right side. And so on the left side, I'm just left with the term negative 12 plus x is equal to negative 3 times 5. A negative times a positive is a negative, and 3 times 5 is 15. So here I have negative 12 plus x is equal to negative 15. In order to get the x by itself, we're going to have to get rid of this negative 12, so we're going to have to add 12 on both sides. And so these cancel out. So on the left side, I'm left with x equals, so here I have negative 15 and positive 12. The signs are different, so I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So 15 minus 12 is 3. The number with the greatest absolute value is negative 15, so I'm going to keep that sign. And so once we have our answer, we could go back and check. So we have negative 12 plus negative 3 divided by 5. Negative 12 plus negative 3 is negative 15. Divided by 5, a negative divided by a positive is a negative. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. So negative 15 divided by 5 is equal to negative 3. And lastly, I have negative 2 minus x divided by 4 is equal to negative 5. So remember that this entire term is being divided by 4. So in order to cancel that out, we have to multiply by 4. So these cancel out. And whatever you do on the left side, you have to do on the right side. So on the left side here, I'm left with negative 2 minus x is equal to, so negative 5 times 4, it's a negative times a positive, and so we get negative 20. So here, negative 2 minus x is equal to negative 20. In order to get x by itself, we have to get rid of this negative 2, so we add 2 to both sides, and this cancels out. So I'm left with negative x is equal to negative 20 plus 2. The signs are different, so I'm going to subtract. So 20 minus 2 is 18. And then keep the sign of the one with the greatest absolute value, which in this case is negative 20. So I have negative 18. So here I have negative x is equal to negative 18. And x is not by itself because there's a negative in front of it. So in order to get rid of that negative, we have to divide both sides by negative 1. So negative x divided by negative 1 is positive x, and negative 18 divided by negative 1 is positive 18. So x is equal to 18. And now if we wanted to go back and check our work, we would do negative 2 minus 18 divided by 4. And so negative 2 minus 18 is negative 20. Divided by 4 makes that negative 5. And we got the same answer as in our equation. So that's how we know we did it correctly. And that's it.